Announcing a war before you start it is one of the most powerful weapons a nation can deploy. Not a weapon of destruction, a weapon of negotiation. This sounds like it shouldn't work. It works every time. In 1960, economist Thomas Schelling published a book that would earn him a Nobel Prize. His thesis, "The most dangerous moments in international relations aren't when countries fight. They're when both sides are trying desperately hard not to." The science of almost wars turns out to be its own discipline, and its math is surprisingly clean. The core mechanism is a game called chicken. Two drivers, one road, heading straight at each other. Whoever swerves first, loses. The counterintuitive optimal move: throw your steering wheel out the window where your opponent can see it. You've just committed to not swerving. You've transferred the entire problem to them. Schelling called this brinkmanship, the deliberate manufacture of shared risk. Nuclear deterrence runs on exactly this logic, scaled to existential stakes. Mutually assured destruction, or, with a naming instinct that can only be described as deliberate, mad, isn't a threat to use nuclear weapons. It's a proof that using them is irrational for both parties simultaneously. The whole system works by making rational actors behave as if they've already thrown the steering wheel. So when a state announces it has a scheduled attack tomorrow, the announcement itself is doing most of the work. It's a deadline. A forcing function. It compresses the opponent's decision space from eventually to right now. The press conference isn't a leak. It's the weapon. Herman Kahn, the Rand Corporation strategist who mapped 44 distinct rungs on an escalation ladder, argued that the rungs matter more than the height. Each step up is a signal. Each pause is a negotiation. Third parties, neighboring states, regional powers, anyone with a relationship to both sides exist in the architecture of brinkmanship as structural off-ramps. They give both climbers a reason to stop, without either one having to admit they were scared. In October 1962, two nuclear powers spent 13 days staring at each other across 90 miles of Caribbean water. It ended not with missiles but with a back-channel, Turkey's warheads, Cuba's warheads, a secret deal, and two leaders each returning home to claim victory. The Cuban Missile Crisis is essentially a graduate seminar in face-saving geometry. The hard part isn't the postponement. It's the morning after. A delayed attack is a check that hasn't cleared. Schelling called this the commitment problem. Brinkmanship depends entirely on the other side believing you would actually follow through. When you don't, even at someone's request, you've bought time. But you've spent something too. The question is whether the thing you bought was worth it. What the science of conflict has established, across decades of game theory and Cold War case studies, is that the most dangerous moment isn't the announcement. It's the ambiguous aftermath, when everyone on all sides must decide what postponed actually means. History is littered with wars that began not because anyone wanted to fight, but because no one wanted to be the side that blinked twice. Strip away the diplomatic language and the escalation ladders and one mechanism remains: the announcement was always the act. Not a prelude to conflict, the conflict itself, conducted through deadline and inference and carefully manufactured uncertainty. Schelling saw it in the 1960s. Kahn mapped it rung by rung. Cuba proved it in 13 days. What they were all describing is the same thing. In a world where actual war is too expensive to wage, the game is to make the other side manage your credibility. The moment a third party brokers a pause, both sides have won and lost simultaneously. That's not resolution. That's the system working exactly as designed. What strikes us about brinkmanship isn't the chess, it's the accounting. Every time a deadline passes without consequence, someone's check bounces. And yet the game continues, because the alternative costs more. We find the whole framework quietly assumes something that may no longer hold, that both sides can read the signals, that the rungs are visible, that the off-ramp is actually there. The dangerous version of this story isn't two rational actors at the edge. It's one side that has already decided the other won't follow through, and they might be right. So here's what we can't stop thinking about: if deterrence only works when both parties genuinely believe the threat is real, who decides when that belief has finally expired?